Welcome to the Unleash Your Power podcast. I'm your host, Anastasia Jones, creativity mentor, author, and limiting belief gladiator. My purpose is to help you transcend fear, take bold, aligned action, and co-create the life and business of your wildest dreams. The world needs your art now more than ever. And if you're ready to embody the creative force within you, then you're in the right place. Now is the time to make your mark. Now is the time to unleash your power. Welcome back to the podcast, my loves. I have a special episode for you today, and I know I say that every episode, but this one's going to be really fun. If you've ever felt stuck in a season of life, or you find that you keep learning the same lessons over and over again, or facing the same challenges in life and business, same old situations, and you're like, why do I keep experiencing this? This episode is for you, okay? Because when you're in the middle of your story, when you're in the middle of a season, it can be so hard to see the higher idea, especially if you're in the middle of pain. It's hard to perceive that there is a higher purpose for this journey. So when you can step back and become a neutral observer of these lessons and these levels, you can then see that there's more available to you in those moments than you realize. You can also begin to understand that regardless of our perceived reality, we have no enemies. Everything can happen for us, and only love is real. I'm going to unpack that a little bit. So in this episode, we're talking about taking a gamified approach to life and business and how to navigate these challenges through the spiritual practice of neutral observation. I first learned of the term neutral observation from one of my mentors, Zella, and I'm going to have her on the podcast soon, which I'm very excited about. We'll talk about this a little more then. But really, neutral observation is the ability to step back and to observe what's going on around you without aligning to the feelings and emotions, and without aligning to the ego that is, in the midst that's associated with that experience. So when you can take a gamified approach to life and business, it can really help you understand your story, create a powerful narrative, and see with that loving detachment the movie that you're creating, the movie that you're in. So this practice does seat you in a place of neutral observation. Also, Gary Zukov talks about something similar. He talks about the seat of the soul. And in this seat, there is no resistance. When you take this gamified approach to life, you are able to see patterns and levels and characters and allies and enemies, all as things that are working for you instead of against you. And we can see these valuable lessons and challenges in relation to the whole journey instead of feeling stuck on a specific lesson or level. And that level is the only thing that's happening. And that level is meant to keep you at a dead end. Sometimes it really can feel like a dead end. But when you take this higher level approach to situations, it reminds you that this is just all part of the whole. And there's more available for you. Also, one of the most important elements of this whole gamified approach to life and business is your ability to raise your frequency with play. So when you're in the midst of these scenarios that can feel like you are in the ego, right? In the lower level energies of fear, of insecurity, of, feeling like you're being defeated, feeling like something's coming up against you. Like those are all kind of low level energies. The way that you can help reframe those experiences and raise your frequency the quickest is through wonder, curiosity, through play. And so when you take a gamified approach to life, you, even in the midst of situations that are difficult and lessons and challenges, you're still able to be like, I wonder how this is working for me. And when you wonder, you create this sense of loving detachment. You create this sense of curiosity, and you perceive your reality completely differently than if you were aligning with everything you felt in those moments. Play is so important. And it's a skill that we can learn. It's a muscle that we can strengthen, and we can use it to do incredible things in our lives, to transcend fear and take bold aligned action, which we are all about that here. So in this episode, my desire is to offer you a new and a fresh perspective that will help you navigate all of those challenges in life and business from a new paradigm of consciousness. I'm going to start by sharing a story. So I love video games, okay? I don't play them now, but I grew up playing video games with my brother. And we would play these video games all the time, or at least as much as we could, okay? We would play Sega Genesis. We would play what was that first Nintendo? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Well, maybe all of you don't know what I'm talking about. Hopefully most of you know what I'm talking about. We also had a Nintendo 64, and we would play that a lot with our dad. And we play that with each other. And so I loved video games. I would wake up before the house was awake, and I would turn on my TV, my little TV in my room, and I would plug in the Sega, and I would play Sonic for hours and hours. I would put it on the volume on 1 or 2, or sometimes I'd play in silence because I didn't want to get caught. I didn't want to wake anyone up, and your girl was perched for these video games, okay? So I just love this concept overall, thinking about the gamification of life and business. I want to start by talking to you about what the term gamification actually means and what it is. You'll also hear this a lot in marketing and user experience research, user experience platforms. So companies weave elements of gamification into their platforms to elevate the user experience and to increase engagement. So it's a way of making the user experience feel like a game in and of itself. And so I want you to think about the Starbucks app. Now, I'm probably going to ruin these apps for you. I'm going to be honest. Once you hear this, you can't unhear it, and you're going to see it everywhere. The more times that you visit Starbucks and use the app, the more rewards you get. And sometimes if you read on the app, the reward is like, if you buy 2 drinks in 2 days, then you get 50 points. Now, these points aren't real. Like, it's not like they're giving you money. They just want you to come in the door more. They just want you to be out in the drive-thru. They want to make more money. So they're going to use rewards to get you to come back. And odds are when you come back, you're going to add something else to your cart, something you actually would not have bought if you didn't have a reason to come back. But those rewards are going to keep you coming back again and again, okay? So also think about the Lyft app. When you drive using Lyft, the more rides you take, now they have this relationship with Delta, the more rides you take, the more flight points you get. And so it's cool because those companies are working together and weaving gamification elements into their user experience and leveraging each other's audiences now. Because the more you lift, the more miles you get to fly. And let's say you go into your account to buy a flight, but you actually also need to buy bags, and you need to buy Maybe you need more money for your flights. You combine cash and points. Maybe you're taking this trip, but you're also bringing someone else who's going to be on the same flight, but they don't really have points. So now they're paying cash, and it just overall increases the their bottom line, baby. Okay. Gamification is cool. So that's how you can, part of the ways that you can use it in your business. And you're going to notice this everywhere now. Okay. But I now want to talk to you about the practice of gamification in life with these 7 key markers that I pulled out just thinking about video games and the things that can kind of lay over life and business. But first, I want to share with you about the 2023 Co-Creator Mastermind. It is now enrolling. This intimate, all-access 12-month experience is for creative entrepreneurs, coaches, and service providers that want to create an income-generating personal brand, grow and scale their business to 5 and 6 figures in 2023. As a member of the Co-Creator Mastermind, you receive full access to all current and future high-vibe income-generating trainings. You also receive personalized brand and business coaching where no topic is off limits, monthly Voxer support from yours truly, and a one-on-one podcast interview hosted by me on this very podcast to showcase you in your area of expertise. I'm fully committed to supporting you as you grow your business and your personal brand this year. Check the link in the show notes to learn more. So here are the 7 key markers, the 7 key elements that I've found in gamification. In the game of life, there's always a hero, right? I'm going to refer to this as the game of life. There's always a hero, and this hero typically feels unqualified. It's the main character that accepts this call to greatness, and they accept this call to greatness by a wise authority. Somebody who is like, I can see the big picture. I can see how this is going to work out for the good if you do accept the call, and I can see how this will lead to utter destruction and despair for everyone if you do not accept the call. So this wise authority paints a very clear picture of like, if you help us, you are the only one that can help us. And if you help us, the world will be better off. If you don't, we're all screwed. Okay. So there's, in all of these video games, Sonic, Mario, name it, it's there, right? So then the hero accepts the call and is then equipped with the basic tools that the hero needs to begin the journey. That's very important. The hero is never over-equipped or like given too much. The hero is always given exactly what the hero needs to begin the journey. And this thing usually looks very basic, these tools. They almost don't even look like tools. The hero is given nothing more, nothing less than what the hero needs to start. And over time, these basic tools will completely be transformed. And there is going to be a higher purpose for all of it. So on this, the hero in this marker receives a higher purpose and the tools to begin the journey. Now, in the second marker, in the game of life, there is always a mission. Something great at stake, a terrible reality that hangs in the balance should the hero choose not to accept the call. In this level, the hero receives what I like to call the cold, hard truth. Or in this marker, the hero receives the cold, hard truth. The truth of what will happen if it does, if they do accept, and the truth of what will happen if they don't accept. This is where they receive the mission. And then in the game of life, there are always enemies and allies. Now I combined this into one marker, okay? Enemies and allies. The enemies are there to show you just how powerful you really are. Although it may seem that they're there to make things suck for you and to make it harder for you, those people, those things, monsters, whatever in these video games that you meet are actually there to remind you how powerful you are and to help you build the necessary muscles that you need to complete that level in order to ascend to the next level. Okay. You also have allies on this journey. The allies are there to help you along the way. Allies often, this is very important, the allies on your journey are often risking something in order to support you. So I'm thinking back to one of the video games in particular that we would play growing up, Zelda, Ocarina of Time. I think I'm saying that word right, Ocarina. And in this video game, there were always allies that would just appear on a level, gift you something, or in the nick of time, they'd save you from something, but they were always risking something in order to support you. So it's just important to remember that. And these allies are heroes in their own storyline. Important to remember that too. So in the game of life, you know that you're going to encounter enemies and allies, but these enemies aren't actually villains meant to make things hard for you. They are gifts to show you how powerful you are and to help you build the muscles you need to complete that level. Now, the enemies and allies, when you're encountering those, you receive proof of your power and confirmation of the call. The enemies gift you with proof of your power, and the allies gift you with confirmation of your call. You are called to this, and I'm going to help you get there. So here's the fourth marker, levels. So in the game of life, there are always levels to complete, each containing new challenges. This is so important. We are always on a level. And in each level, there contains new challenges. These challenges give us endurance. They teach us endurance, okay? Because we got to complete the level in order to get to the next one. I'm going to go right into the very next marker, which are challenges. In the game of life, there are always challenges. You must complete in order to gain new skills. This is important. Collect new tools and receive new treasures. So in each challenge, in each level, there are always 3 key things: skills that you gain, tools that you collect, and new treasures that you receive. It was that way in Zelda as well. So you would beat, a challenge. You would get rubies. You would use these rubies to collect new tools. When you collect new tools, you get new skills. When you get these skills, you can then beat new challenges on the next level. And you always have those skills and those tools now. So on this marker, you get new tools, new skills, new treasures. And then in the game of life, there's always a boss. There is always this at the very end of the game, this villain that you must beat. You got to beat the boss. And you can't beat the boss when you're in the previous levels. The previous levels are actually there to teach you the tools and give you the endurance to know how to beat the boss. If you encountered, let's say there are 5 levels. Let's say there are 10 levels. If you encountered the boss on level 5, you wouldn't stand a chance. If you encountered the boss on level 9, you wouldn't make it. You had to get to level 10 in order to beat the boss on that level. And in the game of life, there's always a boss, right? There's this source of pain and discomfort designed to keep you stuck so that you don't advance on to complete the mission and save the kingdom. But in order to be the boss, you got to use the skills and tools and treasures you gained along the way and receive the victory and the fulfillment at the end. And then the last marker is home. I'm going to read all of them after this, but in the game of life, there's always a home, a physical location that represents an internal state of bliss. You return home and you're celebrated as a hero. And when you return, You're changed from the inside out. And all that you once saw as ordinary becomes so extraordinary. And you receive comfort and rest and fame and celebration. The thing that comes to mind for me here is Hunger Games. And the very last, I just recently rewatched all of them again. Also, the books are incredible. But this is what happens in the final. Oh, I just gave it away. Sorry, it's been years. Okay, if you haven't seen it at this point, it's been at least a decade. That's on you. That's on you. But when the victors get home and everything's done, they get home and they're happy. They find this family. They find rest, right? And it's like all is as it should be. And they've reached this internal state of bliss. So you, my friend, here's a synopsis of all the 7 key markers. Number 1, hero. Number 2, mission. 3, enemies, allies. 4, levels. 5, challenges. 6, a boss. 7, home. Okay? Those are the 7 markers that we can apply to the gamification of life and business. You're the hero. You are the hero in this story. And you have accepted the call to save the kingdom and make a difference so that everyone can live an extraordinary life of creativity, joy, and abundance. And though you may feel unqualified, there is more at stake than you realize. As the hero, you have already been equipped with the tools that you need to embark on this journey. And the tools that you have been given will be transformed. Along the way, you will encounter enemies and allies. The allies often risk something in order to help you. And it's important to remember that our allies are also heroes in their own storyline. And while they will help you and guide you, oftentimes it's only for a season. The enemies there are to show you how powerful you really are, no matter how scary they may seem. In your game, there are levels to complete, and you must complete each level in order to move on to the next. Each level contains challenges meant to make you stronger, to give you new skills, new tools, new treasures along the way. You must complete these challenges in order to finish the level and move on to the next. Along your journey, you'll feel weak. You'll have moments where you feel tired, moments where you feel frustrated, you'll feel invisible, you'll doubt your purpose. But in the game of life, you are never alone. There is always a guide. There's always somebody watching you, supporting you, placing allies and guides and sustenance along your path to refresh you. You got to trust that this loving source, it's the same source that called you on this sacred journey. Trust that the things that you need will appear along the way to guide you on. And one day, you'll meet the boss. You'll meet the greatest villain in the history of the game of life. And you won't arrive unprepared, because every challenge, every battle, every lesson has prepared you for this moment. And you're stronger now than you were when you began. And there's a fire in your belly that fuels you to use everything you've gained to beat the boss, to exhaust every resource you've accumulated along the way and restore the kingdom once and for all. You may take a few tries. Listen, we get it. You may need to restart a level or a lesson a couple of times, a few times, maybe a number of times. But in the end, you always beat the boss. And then there's this great celebration. Your mission's fulfilled, the kingdom's restored. You return home to this internal state of bliss, stronger, you're wiser. And then when a new mission comes to your door, with the stakes even higher, even greater, you accept the call and you pick up your bow and you embark on your next great mission with new levels, new challenges, new skills, new gifts, new tools, new treasures, and a new boss, but you're ready. So I'm going to give you a few questions that you can contemplate. These questions are all questions to consider as you view your life through a lens of gamification. You take this gamified approach to life and business. What is the mission here? What's at stake if you don't accept? How does the world benefit if you do accept? What tools do you have right now to begin? What is the theme of this level? What challenges are you encountering? What are the valuable skills and tools that these challenges are teaching you? What treasures are you gaining at this new level? How will you celebrate your wins? Who are your perceived enemies? When I say perceived enemies, I mean people, places, or things that you believe are keeping you stuck. Things that are often the source of some of your greatest lessons. And who's the boss? What is the boss? What is the great villain that you must vanquish in order to complete the mission? And where is home for you? Describe the state of deep bliss that you will experience once you win, once you return home. And lastly, are you proud of the person you have become on this journey? I hope the answer is yes. I love you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please screenshot it and share it in your stories. Hey friend, thanks for listening. I'm so happy you're here. If this episode helped you in any way, please take a screenshot, share it with a friend, post it to social media, and better yet, why don't you leave me a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening from? My desire is to activate as many creatives as possible. And if you are looking for additional support on your creative journey, you can always connect with me on Instagram at AnastasiaRJD or visit the links in the show notes. We've got free resources to reignite your creativity and soul-centered ways that we can continue to work together. I'll see you again next week. Same time, same place.